Last time these two teams met was well close to 2014, back in Season 7 of the Simulation Football League, live here on YouTube, presented by APM Music. And all those seasons back again, more like 2016, not 2014, the DC Dragons stomped Carolina at home 40-14. Times and players and a whole lot of things have changed here in the SFL. What will happen in their second meeting here from David A. Richardson Memorial Stadium in North Carolina from Raleigh? Hi, everybody. I'm Tyler Falk. Glad to have you with us here from Carolina as the Skyhawks take on the Dragons for the first time since Season 7. Alongside me is my partner, Brett Solberg, in what should be a fantastic contest partner. Both teams coming in today at 2-1.
And we're looking at two power rushing groups here, with Carolina having that two-headed dragon of Suda Nakai, and who would have guessed Hattori Hanzo being in the mix of one of the best running backs in the SFL so far. Top 10 in yards, he's third in the league in average yards per carry, whereas you have DC, and you know the story by now. It's Kevin Say or bust when it comes to the DC Dragons offense. Two rushing teams compete against each other. Who's going to come out on top? I don't know.
Well, Kevin Say had a hat trick of touchdowns a week ago versus Portland. Hattori Hanzo had a pair of touchdowns and 75 yards in the big win over Charleston. But who goes back to 500? And who gets closer and closer to the top echelon of the SFL talent early on in Season 19 of the SFL? It will be the Skyhawks, who will kick us off to begin matters here from North Carolina. And here we go. We have kickoff here at David A. Richardson, and on the return for DC is Gus Scott, trying to make a man miss and does at the 20. Gets a couple extra yards up to the 26-yard line, and that is where Shabazz Synergy will take to the field for the first time today. Last week, completed just about 70% of his passes with a touchdown and an interception.
Yeah, and he's been fairly quiet on the yards front, but he has been very efficient as a quarterback. Over 70% completions. He's got a QBR over 90, and that's what you need from a quarterback.
And that's what DC likes. They like consistency rather than big flashy numbers. That's why you don't see them leading a whole lot of categories. As the handoff to Say goes backward on the first play from scrimmage. Busting through the offensive line is Christopher Cologne.
And that's what Carolina needs to do here. They know that Kevin Say is going to be that threat offensively, and he's going to get a ton of touches in this game. They like to use their rushing attack, so that defensive line for Carolina needs to step up, and they've stepped up here early.
Cologne already has a tackle for loss today, but one sack will push him closer to 8th all time, trying to surpass Mike Johnson today, as Say with a nice spin move. And they'll say he stepped out of bounds just after the first down marker. What excellent open field running from Kevin Say.
Yeah, a great job with that pitch and catch option, kind of changing things up offensively instead of going for another handoff on second down. And what a block from 71 that we saw there. Basically separated Say between him not getting a first down and him getting through that first down marker.
Synergy going to look over the middle here on a new set of downs. We'll find Gus Scott for a gain of 8, and we'll introduce you to the rest of the DC offense. Shabazz Synergy, the quarterback, with Kevin Say at halfback. Chuck Steller, the fullback. Gus Scott, Ronnie Shanahan, Mike Churchill, and Josh Gill are the wideouts. The doctor, Lauren Prococo, and Craig Westlake at tight end. That is your DC Dragon offensive lineup. Split backfield here on second and short. Synergy looking for the out route near side. Caught. First down for the tight end, Westlake. Gets turned around to the 48-yard line, knocked out of bounds. First down, Dragons.
Very nice heavy set there. Usually when you see that set, that's heavy run option. But they go with the split tight ends and they spread them out on flats. Finds Westlake wide open. Just get crisp and easy first down.
Synergy will trot back to the line here as they are already on their third first down of the drive. Handoff up the middle for Say. Has a couple of nice blocks and is finally wrapped up by Davidson Joseph and company, which will give us an opportunity to introduce you to the Carolina defense. Ryan Ray, Bobo Caudill, Phil Hall, and Christopher Cologne are the defensive linemen, with Danny Stinson, Clint Hendershot, and Siobhan Prasad at linebacker. Tristan Hatley, Skippy Curtis, and Davidson Joseph are the corners, with Monte Wyatt, Kane Vasquez, and Lincoln Kingseed at the safety spots. Synergy, play action, deep shot over the middle into double coverage, bobble around, incomplete, as he was looking for Gus, and Scott could not haul it in.
Yeah, just very unfortunate there. They're going with the deeper shot this time, kind of changing up eyesights for the Carolina defense, but Synergy kind of overthrew, causing Gus Scott to try to overreach and just didn't get that completion made.
You're on third and about 5 yards for DC. They'll come out in an empty backfield look. Synergy with a two-step drop, looking for Percoco on the right-hand side. First down, DC. Outworks to perfection. The doctor with an excellent bit of route running to move the chains.
Yeah, and DC does a really good job with their passing offense to really get both of their tight ends involved here. First time with their first down opportunity, they get to Craig Westlake. This time they get to the doctor known as Lauren Percoco. Just another quick, efficient first down for them.
Coco last week got her second of 2 touchdowns of the season, as the pass to the outside is hauled in on the sideline. They'll rule a completion for now, as Mike Churchill will haul that one in.
And they're starting to get their passing offense a little bit more alive here, going with a medium out route option to Churchill. And yeah, if DC wants to kind of change up this offense and gets to score some points early against this potent Carolina defense, I think passing the ball is a good option here.
Backfield set, Synergy looking to the outside, caught again. Another solid pickup for the Dragons, as Gus Scott gets him to the 27.
Yeah, and DC's doing a good job spreading the offense as well, getting a lot of people involved. You saw Churchill earlier. This is Gus Scott's second reception. Both tight ends are getting involved with the passing game along with Kevin Say. Spread the wealth. That's a good thing for DC.
Third and short now here for the Dragons. Synergy, near side, caught by Westlake, and it's another first down. That's the second time we've seen that play call on third down, and both times it's worked out for DC.
Yeah, it's that heavy set split back option that kind of keeps defenses guessing. You don't know if they're going to go with one of the running backs or they're going to go with that flat option, which they've gone twice in a row in, and it's leaving Westlake wide open both times.
Offset eye behind Synergy, handoff, Say to the right-hand side, has to get around his offensive lineman, and does for a few extra yards for Carolina's finally able to take him down after picking up only 2 yards.
Yeah, and DC really controlling this drive so far. It's been nickel and diming themselves to first downs, and they've already crunched through 4 minutes of this game clock already to start off this game. Very well, long and methodical drive from this Dragon squad.
Approaching 5 minutes now as we almost tick closer to the halfway point of the first quarter. DC taking their time here on the drive as they hand up in the middle to Kevin Say. It goes for minimal yardage. Cologne in on yet another early tackle.
Yeah, and what Carolina does great defensively is a lot of these stops close to the red zone here. So if they get another stop on this third down, it's just another ticker for them defensively, showing how great they are.
Carolina's defense only allowing about 45%. This one to try and go 3 for 3. It's picked off. The Carolina defense bent-footed and break, and they take away the ball. It's Lincoln Kingseed.
And they were waiting for this opportunity. They know that Shabazz Synergy was wanting to pass the ball a little bit more in this game here, not getting too involved, but this time a great deflection from the linebacker to have that ball up in the air just for enough time for Kingseed to get to the ball before it drops. Easy interception. Now Carolina has the football.
First interception for Lincoln on the young season, 19th of his career, as it's now Matt South to take the field with his Carolina offense. South's going to step back to throw as DC send pressure. That one is tipped and incomplete, as we'll introduce you to the rest of the Carolina offense. Suda Nakai and Hattori Hanzo are that two-headed backfield we were talking about to begin the football game. Sam Avalos, Tony Zoma, and Harish Prasad are the wideouts, with Vince DeSantis at tight end and Ryland Caudill at left guard. DC set 8 men into the box to try and counter this heavy look here from Carolina. They'll run near side with Nakai, and Nakai is stood up, taken down in the backfield by Saeed Gore. 3rd and long on its way.
Yeah, and for the first time in a while here, that Carolina run game starts off a little bit short there, going with Sunu Nakai on the first run, and DC guessed right on which side he was going to run, stopped him right behind the line.
4 wideouts here on 3rd and 11 for Carolina. South, 5-step drop. They're going to try a screen play near side. Nothing doing. Taken down behind the line. They'll give him forward progress back to the line of scrimmage. But it's Declan O'Rourke, one of the team's leading tackles, one of the league's leading tackles, who comes up with a big hit behind the line. And after the turnover, the Carolina offense goes 3 and out.
Yeah, and DC did a fantastic job defensively, just being ready for whatever Carolina was going to throw at them with the swing pass, the run, and an incomplete pass on that first down. So great job from the DC defense.
Punts away from Malone Brown, and the return man, Gus Scott, hauls it in with a fair catch at his own 49-yard line. We want to remind you that earlier shot aerial coverage of today's game is brought to you by Dags Droneworks, aerial photography and videography services here in New York State. Find them on Instagram at Dags Droneworks or visit their website at dagsdroneworks.com. Back to the action here. Second drive of the ball game here for DC. Play action. Synergy over the middle. Caught by Scott. And they're across midfield already, down to Carolina's 31.
It looked like a similar play that resulted in interception beforehand, and they went basically repeat with it and go with Gus Scott again. This time runs a very crisp out route and gets right by his defender, right in front on those post routes. That's what you're going to need. You're either going to be right in front of him, or you need to have 3 or 4 yards of clearance if you want to get that deep bomb. So great job from Gus Scott doing the perfect run route.
We go with the run game now here on this set of downs as Say gets the call, tried to spin out of the tackle by Kane Vasquez, but sure hands from Vasquez only sees Say to a 5-yard gain.
And 5 yards is pretty good for DC. They definitely want to have, as much as they can from Kevin Say, but a successful play for them is to definitely open up that playbook, and 5 yards will do that for you.
Now from the 26-yard line. 3 wideouts, 2 backs in the backfield. Synergy looking for the out route to the right-hand side. It's Scott who will tiptoe out of bounds about half a yard before the first down marker.
Yeah, and some early love here for Gus Scott as he gets his 4th reception in this quarter here. No targets yet to Josh Gill, which is a little bit surprising considering that he's the main option. Maybe Carolina is doing a little bit of key work here and trying to focus on limiting his receptions.
3rd and inches, handoff, Say through the middle, easy as you like, and more for Kevin Say, down to the 4-yard line. It's a touchdown saving tackle by Tristan Hatley, and it's 1st and goal.
Yeah, and that's what we're reading for from Kevin Say. He's going to break out on those runs. Once he gets an open field of space, whether it be through gaps or through just a stretch run, he turns on the jets like nobody else can in this league and basically turns any traditional 6-7 yard carry to about 14-15 yards. And he finally breaks one open here to get his day started.
So after being gashed through the middle a couple times on the run, the defense goes to the goal lines. They hand off to Say. It's not enough, and in goes Kevin Say. Touchdown, Dragons.
And that is all offensive line work, just trying to spread open that gap on their right-hand side. And that was a perfect gap job done by the DC offensive line. You could have 3 people walk in there with no issue, and Kevin Say basically walked into the end zone, and now DC strikes first here.
After giving the ball away on their first possession, they go right down the field here on their second and get into the end zone via the way of a Kevin Say run. It is now 7-0. The DC Dragons have the lead here on the road. And if you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. And the kicker, Potty, puts his boot to the ball once again to try and get us underway, as it's a very nice return by Tony Zoma, eluding a few tackles, gets them a net gain of about +3 to the 23-yard line.
Yeah, not too bad of a return there from Zoma. He was kind of wishing if he could spread a little bit more to that right side, but there was enough people on that DC hands team that just got right to Zoma.
It was a 3-and-out on their first drive for the Skyhawks. Can they make any more headway here on their second drive? They'll go with a handoff for Hatori Hanzo, and the Dragons are alive to it. Only allowing Hanzo about 2 yards.
Very, very alive to it, knowing that he's going to get some touches every now and again. Like we said earlier, it's basically splitting carries at this point between both Nakai and Hanzo. And you're going to probably see another healthy dose of Hattori Hanzo once we carry on further into this game.
Would you think, partner, that DC are more attuned to the inside run here in this game after last week's contest for Carolina?
It's very possible, as you can see that DC's getting prepared for a lot of these run teams that go through penalty marker on the field here. We'll have to see what Ref 62 says. It'll be a hold.
With the run up the middle, and they'll tag one of the Skyhawks with the infraction, unfortunately, for Carolina. That one's coming back.
Yeah. 5-yard run out of this, and all gets negated, and they're getting even pushed back here, and now forcing Matt South, who hasn't had a great arm so far this season, is going to be forced to throw the rock here.
Delivery DiGiorno is the man who gets tagged with the infraction as South goes deep over the middle, and it's still bobbled up in the air for what seemed like ages, and at least 5 different players, both Carolina and DC, couldn't get their mitts around it.
Yeah, and DC was ready for it. They knew that in a 2nd and 18 situation, you're going to have yourself a passing option from Matt South, who you got to remember last week, 5 interceptions, which caused his interception total to go up to 11 so far through 3 games. He's not at his hottest right now, so DC definitely ready to go with this passing defense.
Bump coverage on the outside from those DBs as Carolina spread the field with 5 wide receivers. South looking for another deep ball into quadruple coverage that comes back to bite him. Back on the return come the Dragons, and DC strike on the turnover. It's a pick 6 for DC and for Josh Vasquez.
And you can see on those 2 defensive plays from DC, they might have been doing bump coverage, but they were heavily relying on their safeties just to be in the right spot, seeing where Matt South was going to throw that football. The first time, again, you saw a basically hot potato matchup go up, and this second time, Josh Vasquez on the left side, knowing where this football was going to go, grabbing that football and finding an open path on that left side. Fantastic pick 6 for DC.
The turnover bug bites again for the Skyhawks. They have been notorious in the last couple of seasons in being one of the teams that struggles with the turnovers, at least on offense. And this one right here is going to net 6 points. Make that 7 now for DC as Potty tacks home the extra point. 14-0 DC on the road.
And this might be worst case scenario here for Carolina to start off this game here. They definitely didn't want to go through the air early in this matchup, but now down 2 scores with a DC defense that's prime and ready to go, they're kind of forcing your hand here.
Potty's going to get us underway once again, as it'll be up to Tony Zoma to try and make another excellent return. Trying to kick it out to the left-hand side, trying to stretch the field and can't. And Carolina will start the drive right where they started the last drive. And partner, according to our statisticians Stephen Hacker and Jack Wall, only a total of -9 offensive yards to start off the ball game for Carolina.
And it's not good. Carolina definitely needs to get things going offensively. Time to wake up, boys. You're in here against a prime DC defense that's feasting on you so far. Let's wake up here.
South looking over the middle again. It's deflected. It's the DC Dragons defense, the story of the football game here in the first quarter.
Yeah, and right now this DC defense is ready, knowing that Mass South so far in this season has a QBR under 60. That's something you don't see from quarterbacks all that often, and not in a good way. So DC, the safeties are coming alive here, and Matt South, I think, is doing the right thing, trying to go for his main target here in Harish Prasad.
South is 0 for 4 on passing attempts today. He's going to try and look to get this one here on passing attempt number 5. It's deflected, nearly picked off again.
Yeah, and it just passing attempts have just been a little bit too predictable on Carolina's side. Where have we seen it go so far? 15, 20-yard deep pass down the middle. And these safeties are just eating it up right now. And all of them have either been deflected or intercepted. Carolina needs to change things up on the passing offense.
On the straight formation here for the Skyhawks. Can South and Carolina get off the snide here early in the goings? That side pick off again. South is 0 for 6 with 2 interceptions.
An amazing interception, a jumping interception from Peanut Say. And it looked like that one-on-one battle, it looked like Prasad had him beat by a couple yards. But those outstretched hands of Peanut Say basically turned that into a net negative. And another interception from Matt South. And DC, once again, prime field position here. They could go up 3 scores.
This will be excellent starting field position for the Dragons. 3 wide receivers. They're going to go with a run to the right-hand side by Say, who gets bottled up at the line of scrimmage. No gain.
Yeah, and Carolina has to be ready for that. They know that DC's up 2 scores. This is comfortable territory for the Dragons, so they're going to use a heavy dose of Kevin Say, and we might see some Chuck Stellar runs as well as we go later on. So they got to be ready for all options of run from the running game.
2nd and 10 now for DC. Synergy looking near side for Say on the swing pass, and Say had ample room to run. He gets the first down even before he was touched.
Yeah, nobody around Kevin Say there. It took Dave to come over and try to stop him on that tackle, but it still was not enough for Kevin Say to cross that first down marker. Now in red zone territory, this is going to be big for DC. Can they get up 3 scores before the end of this first quarter?
Weak eye formation here for DC here on first down. 4-3 look out of Carolina with the linebacker shifting to the outside. Handoff, Say to the right-hand side. Tries to spin out of a tackle, nothing doing, taken down at the 19-yard line.
Yeah, and these linebackers have to be ready and prime and ready to go here for any opportunity. Kane Vasquez is the one who got the tackle there, the strong safety coming in kind of as a 4th linebacker in this defensive set. So you got to be ready for those runs now.
30 seconds to go here in the first quarter. 3 wideouts here for Synergy. We're going to look to the right side. Gus Scott has a good pickup of about 8 yards to the 11-yard line.
And they're not going to mind that. That's another 8 yards. They're even closer within the end zone here. I don't think they mind if they resort to a field goal. But again, 8 yards on just like this in and out kind of go set, and very much misdirecting Tristan Hatley and getting himself just an easy catch there. Another 8 yards, and at the 11, this is prime real estate right now for DC.
This could be the last play of the first quarter. Say gets the give, right side, and will get the first down. The tackle from behind, maybe giving him maybe a little extra boost that he needs to move the chains as we hit the end of the first quarter. DC in complete control in the first quarter. Can Carolina come back in the second quarter? Come back to find out. You're watching the SFL on YouTube. Tyler Falk and Brett Solberg here in the booth from David A. Richardson Memorial Stadium. Happy to have you along here for Week 4 action here in the Simulation Football League. DC on the march here in the red zone, trying to put more points on the board, already leading 14-0. Synergy looks to the end zone right away, and the doctor is not into the house. She's in with a reception, but they're going to say that she was down at the goal line.
Ooh, I don't know about that, my good friend. It's tough to say from this perspective. Feet were definitely in. I don't think you could disagree with that, Tyler. Feet were definitely in, but was that football in? Nonetheless, you're at the SFL chin hair line. There's plenty of places you can go through on second down.
Chin hair and Westlake with the reception. The two tight ends combine coming out of the quarter break, and the Dragons are right back on the board. It is now a 20-point ball game.
Now, I'm not sure if Craig Westlake ever thought getting this touchdown here would be called by saying chin hair and then Westlake, but here we are at the chin hair line, essentially, basically, like in Canadian terms, 2 centimeters from the end zone. Quick little flats route that we've seen a couple times successfully, and there you go, another score for DC. They're just rolling right now.
That is Craig Westlake's first career touchdown here in the SFL as Potty tacks home the extra point, and DC leads by a score of 21 donut. And the SFL is partnered with Rare Drop and Rare Drop Sports to advance live events and distribution. Live and in-person championship weekends, rookie drafts, and community events are in the works. Visit raredrop.co for more info on what the company does in the gaming community, and follow Rare Drop Sports on Twitch at twitch.tv/RDSports. And speaking of Rare Drop, the second game of this doubleheader, London and Mexico City, Motor City, is going to go on here in just a few moments over on RD Sports Twitch. Go ahead and check that game out as well, alongside ours. Here as Carolina tries to make a comeback, Tony Zoma gets the ball up to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, and can you believe that London is 11.5-point favorites against Motor City, who are 2-1 to start off this season? They're definitely not a team we expected to be 2-1, but here we are. They've played some fantastic football so far this season.
And it's the rushing attack, not the passing attack like we thought would. That offense revolving around Johnny Pickler. 1st and 10. South going to look to the right-hand side. That's his first completion of the ball game, and things are now moving in the right direction for the Skyhawks.
And you can easily see the comparisons there. Shabazz Energy getting anything that he really wants here in this first quarter, whereas Matt South, like you said, first completion in 7 attempts here, and finally gets one through. And hopefully this will shake off the ghosts and all the negative energy that he has currently.
On 2nd and 2, DC throw 9 men to the box to counter this 4 tight end look set. South, swing pass right-hand side. First down of the ball game for Carolina as Nakai hauls in the swing pass, gets him to the 39.
Perfect misdirection from Carolina here. It looked like they were going stretch run all the way. Instead, we have Matt South dropping back with probably one of the quicker swing passes that we've seen in the league right to Suna Nakai, and all he really needed was some decent blocking to get the first down. He gets it, and that's what Carolina needs here. They need forward progression.
So a brand new set of downs here for Carolina. 1st and 10 for the 39-yard line. I formation handoff for Nakai. Nakai gets folded in half by Benny Butcher after a gain of a yard.
Well, that'll at least get him back to neutral ground on the running attack here, as he is at -1 yard heading into the second quarter. Yeah, great job from this DC defense recognizing the run and getting to Nakai quickly.
2nd and 9 after the pickup of only a yard. 3 wide receivers for South, and he's going to go back to pass, looking deep over the middle, and this time it is caught for the Skyhawks. Sam Avalis hauls in his first reception.
And the big key there between the intercepted throws and this throw here was making sure that the wide receiver was in front. That is the big key here. And even though Sam Avalis was a little bit below that football, he uses his leaping ability and grabs the football. This is key progression here for Carolina, so they don't get out of the water here.
First reception for Sam Avalis over the middle. Did have that out route for his first reception. Great defense by Peanuts Say, just reaching out his hand instinctively behind him to get in the way of that football.
And man, this has been a player, a corner over the last couple seasons who's just slowly and gradually improved his running game, his coverage game over the last, several weeks over the course of past couple seasons. And the more and more I see Peanut Say, the more and more I think he's becoming one of the more elite corners in this league.
Cornerbacks, halfbacks. Two family members on the field, Kevin and Peanut. Peanut in the defense, Kevin alongside in the offense, of course. 2nd and 10, handoff to the fullback, Hattori Hanzo. Hanzo with a gain of 8.
That's what you're going to see from Hattori Hanzo. He's a big, big dude, and he's going to run his way through. 245 pounds is tough to stop when he's a moving locomotive train, and he gets another 8 yards here.
And like a locomotive, the Skyhawks offense is chugging along here on this drive. Another handoff for Hanzo-san, and Hanzo-san gets the first down.
Just another great, just powering his way through, lumbering his way through. You can think traditional power back set for Hattori Hanzo, just trying to push his way through using whatever limb in his body to get an additional yard or two, and he gets the first down.
The 28-yard line, two-back set. They're going to run this time with Nakai, and they seem to be having more success with the bigger back as Nakai gets stood up by Saeed Gore.
Yeah, and they're really keying on Nakai, this defensive line, really stopping him at this point. 4th attempt now, still at 0 yards. This has been a fantastic job of basically neutralizing the possible threat that is Suda Nakai.
2nd and 10 now. Play action. South looking for the out route near side. Caught near the sideline. Hauled in by Prasad for a completion. 9.5 yards on the pickup.
Yeah, and he kind of had to skirt his feet on the sidelines to make sure that he stays in bounds, to make sure that pass was completed. A 3rd and inches situation inside the 20. Very favorable situation for the first time in this game for Carolina.
3rd and short. 9 men in the box here for DC as Carolina goes into a heavy two-back set. Handoff. Hanzo, right-hand side, and Hattori has another first down to the DC 11.
And that man stayed untouched as he crossed the first down marker and gained additional yards. Great job by the offensive line to split that gap open just enough. And yeah, basically the outside linebacker focusing on pass realized that Hanzo had the football, had to turn around and try to tackle him. And it was way too late on that one. Another first down for Carolina, close to the 10.
It was the DC offense we were talking about controlling the time of possession. Now Carolina closing in on 4 minutes here on this drive. Pass right-hand side for Nakai. Still nothing doing for Pseudo. No gain.
And Declan O'Rourke just calling his number essentially right away, seeing the swing pass happening, seeing that pass completed, and basically was already inches away from Nakai. Again, great job from this DC defense, keying in on Suda Nakai and giving him absolutely nothing.
6 total touches both on the ground and through the air for Pseudo, only 6 yards. Deep drop here from South, looking near side. Caught by Prasad. This one a gain of 8. And they're inside the 5 to the 3.
It was the same play that got them the 9.5 on that last set of downs. Same target, same route, same sideline as well. And this time, Harish only gets 8 out of this. But at the 3-yard line, they could definitely open things up. Maybe another Hattori Hanzo run. Doesn't look like he's in that backfield, though. So definitely shaking things up.
Perfect on 3rd downs on the drive, 2 for 2. Offside, 3 play, South floater, taken down in the end zone is the receiver. There might be 2 flags on the play.
That's possible there. Riley Hughes being a little bit handsy there, so we might see a jump as well as a defensive pass interference on that.
Well, the neutral zone infraction is the only penalty called. So give him half the distance to the goal. I do not know if that'll bring up a first down. We'll see here in just a moment. In fact, no, it's going to be just short as the down marker still reads 3rd down. So it'll be 3rd and inches for the Skyhawks on about the 2-yard line.
It's interesting. I would have called that pass interference. They should have gotten a first down out of this.
Very interesting calls by R62, but I'm not a referee, so I can't say nothing. 2 backs in the backfield here on 3rd down. Hanzo-san! Touchdown, Carolina! And the Skyhawks are on the board.
Korimasa. Excellent touchdown there from Hanzo. As he's been basically tearing it up on that backfield for the Skyhawks so far in this first half. And this time, just easy runnings, just a great, again, this offensive line basically ready for these Hattori Hanzo runs, and nobody touched them. It got to the end zone. Carolina finally getting some points here. This might be the breath of life that they desperately need as DC still firing on all engines.
4th touchdown of the season for Hattori Hanzo. He's right up there with Kevin Say, who also has 4 touchdowns, and he's a halfback. As the kick from Whistle Jones is up and good. DC 21, Carolina 7. Don't look now. The Skyhawks are coming back into this one. The SFL produces over 400 live events each year, but don't miss community content creators and their creations. Catch SFL Nights with AJ Stryker, Say It With Your Chest with Eddie Gage, Netma with yours truly, and much, much more covering Season 19 and beyond. To check out archived versions of community shows, visit simulationfl.net and click the logo of your favorite form of SFL entertainment on our homepage. Gus Scott on the return tried to go straight through everybody, and that rarely works out as he's taken down to the 25.
Yeah, and DC definitely, I think in the prime time for them to respond, they're usually really pretty decent with responses so far this season when teams are trying to come back. But I think Carolina is going to be a little bit more ready here as they finally got some points on the board, and that might carry some momentum here for the defensive side.
Synergy going to look to the left-hand side. That's one of the tackles who hauls in the reception. Carlos Levi hauls in a reception for DC.
That's a big boy reception that's not inside the goal line. You don't see that all too often in any football game. And he gets a decent amount of chunk of yardage there. 9 yards from the tackle. Big boy reception.
Might have to call that play a few more times to keep Carolina on their toes. 2nd and 1 now here for DC from their own 34. Synergy looking over the middle. The crossing route connects. And it's a 1st down for DC.
And it's been a healthy dose of Gus Scott from the wide receiver side so far in this game. And in DC, they smell blood in this proverbial water right now. And seeing that Carolina is, kind of still reeling even though they scored, they're attacking him heavy with these 2 straight passes.
Thanks to our stats team, Jack Wall and Stephen Hacker. 6 reception on the ball game for Gus Scott. And the swing pass left-hand side for Kevin Say will go 3 yards before he's blasted to the ground by Shravan Prasad.
And you have to think at this point there might be more Kevin Say coming this way, at least in this set of downs. 2nd and 7 situation. Get yourself a run up the middle, get yourself a couple more yards, try to control the clock here, or they could still try to strike when the iron is hot. Try to get a deep pass as there's some pretty close coverage between that wide receiver and the corner on the top of our screen here.
Offset eye. Here on 2nd down. Handoff right-hand side. Kevin Say, nothing doing. The Carolina defense streaking into the backfield. It's Prasad again on back-to-back plays with tackles. He was helped a little bit by Christopher Colon, still looking for that 1 sack.
Yeah, and Carolina desperately needs to get this 3rd down stop here. It's a 3rd and 9. You'd think that in this situation that DC is going to pass, so get ready for the coverage here.
Quick drop. Synergy looking left-hand side of the backfield. Say having a lot of work to do and can't get it done. Broke out of 1, but could not break out of the tackle from Skippy Curtis. And Carolina's defense gets DC's offense off the field.
Yeah, and that was the failure of the wide receiver on that top side that looked to be, I think, not Gus Scott, but it looked to be Mike Churchill on that one side, not getting that additional block. Now, he did spin out of a Davidson Joseph attempt, but that big body is Skippy Curtis, all 5'11" of her. That's tough to stop sometimes.
Punts away from Don Wilson. Fair catch called for and hauled in safely by Tony Zoma. And on comes the Carolina offense to start another drive.
Yeah, and Matt South just needs to continue where he left off on this last drive here. It seemed like everything was going his way here. Completions were happening. He's close to 50% completion percentage after that drive. He just needs to continue his way there.
After throwing 7 incompletions, he was 6 of 6 on the last drive. South looking to try and keep up the form. Nice pass. Fit it right into the window for his tight end, Vince DeSantis.
Yeah, and DeSantis going split right between the 2 linebackers, O'Rourke and and Riley Hughes there, and just basically to split in that gap and finding a great hole to throw that football to is Matt South. And 7 yards, that's a pretty good gain out of that.
Under 3 minutes to go here in the second quarter. They're going to go with the run. Nakai, best run of the day for Pseudo Nakai. First down, Carolina. Easily the best run of Pseudo Nakai's day so far. And it was all because of great blocking from the offensive line. You could see that gap being split along with Hanzo with a great block on Riley Hughes to continue moving forward is Nakai and gets a nice 8-9 yards out of it. And now Carolina's rolling, I should say. I say DC's defense is reeling, partner. It's a heavy set. Handoff near side. Hattori Hanzo, after dishing out a block, tries to dish out some pain, getting 6 yards.
Yoko deshimashita. Excellent work. Great job from Hanzo. Practicing my Japanese here with his runs going right up the gut and getting some nice gains out of that. Another 6 yards opens up this playbook for the Skyhawks.
Probably have to add in a few extra comments later on in the ballgame. But right now it's 21-7. I'm regarding Japanese, that is. I'm trying to think of a few different phrases I could say, partner. And trying to brush up on my Japanese a little bit. And that's the one thing I'd like the SFL to do one day, is maybe have a team over in Japan. Maybe tap an untapped market that rarely gets looked at for American football. 2nd and 4 here as we come out of the 2-minute break. Handoff, Pseudo Nakai. Nothing doing. Stood up at the line and taken down by Benny Butcher.
Yeah, and this DC defense definitely needs to be ready for going on forward. You're going to see a lot of Hanzo runs, and you're definitely going to see, some deeper passes from Matt South. They're relying on the run here this time, giving South a break after 7 straight completions. But now with his empty set, it's time for South to do his work here.
On straight 3rd and 3. South going to look to throw, steps on the pocket, hit as he throws, incomplete. A late flag. I thought I saw maybe pass interference or maybe a little bit of roughing in the defensive backfield. Let's take a look and take a listen.
Face mask.
And not pass interference, but they are going to tag Declan O'Rourke, the middle linebacker, with a face mask, and I thought I saw someone go down in the receiving core running one of those slant patterns. And that's probably where the flag came from.
Yeah, and they're calling it incidental here, so it's not much of a gain. It's not a personal foul out of that, but regardless, automatic first down for Carolina. That's big for them.
Huge first down for the Skyhawks, keeps their drive alive. Now South will go into the gun with 2 backs to his left and right, stepping up and firing over the middle. It's picked off of the 25, untouched, and on the return now is the DC Dragons. And the defense again comes away with a huge stop. It's Josh Vasquez who comes away with the interception.
And what's been the result of all 3 Matt South interceptions so far in this game? Deep passes down the middle. These safeties for DC have that on lock. There isn't a chance, it seems like, in this first half that Carolina is going to get those deep passes down the middle of the field. It's only happened maybe once or twice, and those resulted in getting in front of the safeties, not behind them. Overthrown, another interception for Vasquez. DC's back on offense.
4th pick of the ball game, as a floater over the middle from Synergy finds his mark. Gain of 8 for the Dragons as they go back to the line with 1:12 to go.
We're going hurry up here.
Synergy sidearm sling. It is bobbled and incomplete. Ronnie Shanahan could not come up with a tip drill reception, and Carolina's defense gets a little bit of time to breathe.
Almost 2 straight immaculate receptions from Ronnie Shanahan. The first one, just a duck of a throw after getting hit, manages to grab it with a foot off the ground. And this one, trying to get the deflection, just couldn't grab it.
4-3 look out of Carolina with a 2 wide out set. Synergy looking left side for Say. Say turning upfield. They trying to make a spin move, does cross midfield to Carolina's 49 and thrown down to the ground. Under a minute to go. DC's offense hustles back to the line of scrimmage, ready to go with another play. Synergy, screen,
Big
left
play.
side. Say could not haul it in. It hit his fingertips. Maybe a little slippy after hauling in the reception on the last play.
It seemed like that formation was locked on running back swing passes, and it looked like he was going to be open on that field again to possibly get another chunk of yardage out of it, but just couldn't get those popcorn hands away from the football.
It's 2nd and 10 with 45 ticks to go here in the first half. Say with the run through the middle, picks up a good gain of 9 yards, and now DC calls their first timeout.
Yeah, and DC's definitely looking to get some points before the end of this first half here, as the offense has gone relatively quiet in this second quarter. They want to end this half with a high note here. Very smart, I would say, play calling from this DC offensive coordinator head coaching set to know that they need to score points before the end of the half.
Synergy going to look left side for Say. Another screen play. Say with a couple of blocks. Left-hand side. Spins out another tackle, and he spun free inside the 10. Still going into the 6-yard line. Kevin Say went beast mode.
And first off, let's credit the blocking on the two men there. It was the center, James Judah, and the guard, Mike Benjamin. Look at these two key blocks coming out of this. And then you see the elusiveness of Kevin Say that we've seen over the last couple seasons that has made him one of the top 3 running backs in this league, just spinning through guys and using his speed to push forward even further. DC at the goal line essentially here. 3 plays to pay dirt.
Offset eye as they get the Carolina defensive line to jump offside. Say trying to make something happen, taken down at about the 4-yard line, which will be about the same amount of yards if they do accept the offsides penalty. I wonder which route they'll go with. R62?
Zone infraction. Number 92, defense, half the distance to the goal. Repeat, first
Phil Hall tagged with the infraction. DC accept the penalty, so it'll move him closer to the end zone.
And Phil Hall's been on a tear so far this season. First in tackles for loss and first in sacks so far this season. Got a little jumpy there, and no, it's not a great time to be jumpy, as you basically just gave him a free first down out of that.
This isn't Wisconsin. There's no jump around playing on the loudspeakers. It's 1st and goal from the 3-yard line here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Synergy looking to the end zone, and touchdown! Westlake, his 2nd of the day in his career.
And a great job from this DC 2-minute drill offense to quickly move down the field, knowing that they needed points essentially to get momentum back on their side. And it was a mixture of both run and pass to get them down the field. And it ends off with the rookie, Craig Westlake, getting his 2nd touchdown, leaving himself open on a quick post route. Great touchdown, and now 27 on the board for DC.
With not a whole lot of time for Carolina to answer here in the first half. They will get the ball here in just a moment, but they'll get the ball to start off the second half as well. As it snaps, spot kick is up, and it is good. 28-7, the Dragons showing they have some sparks in what I had preached out to begin the football game, partner, is this offense, at times doesn't look like they try and mess around too much. They like to be a little bit more consistent, but today, lighting up the scoreboard.
Look at that, 28 points, 218 total yards, easily doubling what Carolina's been doing in this first half. Just all around great efficiency from the offense.
On the return now is Tony Zoma, who gets to the 27-yard line. That's it. Carolina trying to recover. Matt South, 4 interceptions. One of those turned all the way back for a pick 6. Asked to think about being a little bit more consistent to end off this first half and to start off the second.
It'll be decision time. Are they going to run out the clock, just head to the locker room here, or are they going to try to score?
Probably hand it off to Hanzo and try and milk it. The rest of this clock is Hanzo. Nice run from Hattori. Gets him a first down to the 38 as they hustle back to the line. That might be the wrong play set. Go back to Hanzo, and Hanzo another good run, about 20 yards combined on the last 2 plays. Carolina does call a timeout with 3 seconds to go, and that'll give maybe Carolina one more opportunity to try and hit pay dirt. More than likely looking to Matt South to try and chuck one down the field.
And you know what? That wasn't too bad of a 2 plays there. Get yourself 20 yards in prime position for a Hail Gary here, 53 yards. Not too far of a throw for Matt South. We know he has a pretty good arm in this league. He wouldn't be the starter for this Carolina Skyhawks team if he didn't have a great arm. And here we are, Hail Gary situation.
Hail Mary in American terms, in Canadian terms, Hail Gary. As South is going to look to try and throw this one deep. Right side into quintuple coverage, picked off for the 5th time today, and it's a big return all the way back to midfield. 5 interceptions for this DC defense. It's Daryl Bullock who comes away with number 5, and the Dragons will head into halftime up by 21.
Yeah, and that was basically when you throw that up in the air, there was only one receiver in the vicinity against 5 defenders, essentially. There's eventually going to be an interception out of that. And like you said, number 5 for interceptions for Matt South, and matches his total from last week alone there. 10 interceptions in the last 2 games. Not so hot for Matt South right now.
It was nearly 6 years ago to the day when these two teams last met. In their first meeting all the way back in season 7, DC won that ball game 40-14 in a landslide victory, but that was in DC. Here in Carolina, it's the Skyhawks who look, well, out of sorts.
Yeah, and this is almost feeling like that season 7 matchup as well, because DC lit up Carolina in that first half as well, got 28 points themselves, if I'm not mistaken, through the first half. Nope, sorry, it was 31 points that came in that first half from DC in season 7, and all the points from Carolina came in the second quarter. And Carolina today is hoping that is not the case here. But right now, they are being systematically demolished by this defense. You can see the passing game pretty much non-existent at this point. Matt South with 5 first-half interceptions. The coverage team doing a fantastic job covering every base that they can. Any momentum that South gains, he loses it immediately with these interceptions. It's just been an all-around fantastic game from offense and defense on this DC squad.
South under 100 passing yards. Suda Nakai, sub 10 rushing yards. It's just been a nightmare for the Skyhawks, and DC, well, they've been able to take advantage of this. Of course, the interceptions, but let's talk about that offense. Very consistent play from the quarterback, Shabazz Synergy. He's around 83% completion percentage so far today.
Yeah, and you can see the running game. Kevin Say had to get to 42 yards on 13 attempts. Most of it has been through the air so far. He's got 70 receiving yards. This passing game for DC, where we thought this would be an all-out, drag-out battle on the ground between these two teams, has become basically an air-and-out offense for Shabazz Synergy, who's 19 of 23. He's incredibly efficient heading into this second half.
As we welcome you back to David A. Richardson Memorial Stadium, I'm Tyler Falk. Alongside Brett Solberg here in the booth, we want to thank our statisticians, Jack Wall and Stephen Hacker, and of course the commissioner and producer, Cameron Irvine, back at newly built SFL headquarters. He relocated earlier this month, and he's all moved into his new digs. Happy to have Cam back on the call in what he's been calling a very cool summer, as the return from Tony Zoma gets all the way up to the 25-yard line. And that is where Carolina will start off their first offensive possession of the second half. And we talked about it at halftime, partner. South, 5 interceptions. If they want to come back, he's going to need to be a little bit more on point.
Yeah, they're down 3 scores at this point. They're going to have to go back to South and get him through the air, but they need to find different ways of doing it. Down the middle is not working.
5-step drop pass near side. It is caught by Prasad for a gain of 9.
Yeah, and it looks like those sideline catches are working for Harish Prasad and as well as Matt South here. The out route for Prasad, I think he's ran it about 4 or 5 times in this game. It seems like it's all ending in completions for him. So they just need to continue to find that weakness in the sideline, maybe go with a corner route that goes to the sideline, and then you might get a big gain out of it.
Heavy set here on 2nd and short. Hand off Hattori Hanzo, and for one of the few times today, they get to Hanzo for no gain.
Yeah, and Hanzo stopped right away by this DC defense with Benny Butcher, the big dude, big man. That's a lot of man right there, just stopping Hanzo.
Another heavy set. They go with Nakai this time, and it's the tailback who gets the first down, not the big beefy fullback.
Yeah, they go with the skinnier option, hoping that the smaller gap will get a guy as small as Sunu Nakai through, and they get it. Another set of downs for Carolina here, and that's positive momentum for them.
1st and 10 here for Carolina with 3 wide receivers. Swing pass near side for Nakai. Has 2 defenders to try and beat at the 40. Nothing doing. He is held up right there at the 40-yard line by Riley Cuse and company. And we talked a little bit about it yesterday on the preview over on Netma. Riley Cuse and Declan O'Rourke in the top 10 in tackles so far this season.
Yeah, and they've been big parts of this game so far. With Declan O'Rourke already with 2 tackles and 1 assist.
Nakai gets the call through the middle. He is taken down by his ankles by Butcher. No gain.
Speaking of impacts, Benny Butcher has been an impact on this drive here. 2 big tackles on the running backs here. First one to stop Hattori Hanzo for no gain. This time stopping Nakai from getting a first down.
Now it's a 3 wide set here for the Skyhawks. Offset single back behind South. 5-step drop from Matt as he looks near side. Caught on the sideline by Sam Avalos. First down, Carolina.
Yeah, and now they're starting to find open holes in this DC secondary. And right now, those medium routes on the sidelines, they are left wide open. And I think they need to continue going that way. They need to find, kind of chip away at this lead, and that might result in them nickel and diming with these out routes on the sidelines.
And Hattori Hanzo through the middle. Got through 1 defender, then double teamed at the 43.
And he's just using his strength to try to bowl over people. And so far, it's been relatively successful for him as he gets his 10th carry in this game, up to 54 yards. We don't see a lot of, 10-plus carry games out of fullbacks. So this season has definitely been proven otherwise. Might be the season of fullbacks.
You see throw 9 men in the box as they flip it out near side for Nakai. Nakai shoulders 1 man, but then is wrapped up after gaining about 3, maybe 2 yards.
And try to juke his way out, but the problem with that is that if he went with the proper juke direction heading to the right, he would have stepped out of bounds. So he juked basically right to his defender, and it just didn't work out. And now in this 3rd and 2 situation, it'll be interesting to see where they go.
Bunch at the left-hand side here on 3rd and 2. Out route left-hand side, hauled in. First down, Skyhawks, the 36-yard line. This initial drive here in the second half working out well. They're taking up some clock, which in the long run might not be too effective if they're down by a whole bunch.
It's pretty much a mirror image of DC's first drive in the game, shedding a lot of clock here. But like you said, it's not going to be a favor if they keep killing a lot of clock.
And off through the middle, Nakai tried to stutter step to make something out of nothing. He's taken down at the line of scrimmage. John Gary in on the stop.
Just a big bunch of men on the defensive side. Made their own wall essentially in front of Hattori Hanzo. And just, you can't, there's one guy against 4. It's going to be tough to kind of bowl yourself through that.
Try and go with Nakai. Through the middle, had a couple of lead blockers, and he'll get the first down. Excellent blocking for Carolina to get the first.
And yeah, that's what it was. It's just good enough blocking. And it didn't have to be like a huge gap for Suda Nakai. You got to remember, he's one of the shortest running backs in this league. So all he needs is just a little bit of space, and he'll maneuver his way forward, kind of going serpentine pattern, zigzagging his way. Just when you think he's going to zig, and he zags, but then he zigs again. One of those kind of runs, that's what you love to see out of Suda Nakai.
Out route left side here on first down is caught for a gain of 3 before getting knocked out of bounds is Prasad.
Yeah, and this drive has gone pretty successful for this Carolina squad, but as they now eclipse 5 minutes on this drive here, how beneficial is this going to be at the end of the day? They basically need to score 7 out of this for this to be a successful drive.
4 wideouts here on second down for Matt South. Back to pass. Corner route deep inside the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina. Shafan Prasad gets on the board.
And there it is. I was talking about how that sideline was wide open. I was looking for that deep corner route to get himself open because that middle was pretty much swarmed by corners and safeties all over the place. They go sideline this time. Harish Prasad, the master of the sideline, I like to call him throughout this league. And this time, gets himself to the end zone. Big 6 points for the Skyhawks.
And so Carolina eclipses double digits for 13 points. On comes Whistle Jones to try and make it 14 total points, which he does. 28-14. Only a 14-point lead now for DC here as beyond the middle part of the third quarter. Esports TV has partnered with the SFL to bring sim football to millions of homes over the next 2 years. ESTV is the world's first 24/7 live, linear, and video on-demand esports channel available everywhere. Through your smart TV, on your phone, through Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and more. Visit estv.co to learn more about its programming and to find all the ways you can catch the SFL action on the network. And Scott with a nice return to the near side of the 27-yard line. Just a little bit more speed, and he's got that one broken wide open.
Yeah, the chat's killing you right now, Tyler. Not sure if you saw. They're saying, "Wow, Chevron Prasad can catch out of the linebacker spot. It's amazing." They're killing you out there, but you know what? We make mistakes sometimes. It's all good. We're going on to the next drive.
We move on to Harish Prasad coming up with a very nice completion. My apologies to all the Carolina faithful as Say gets the call through the left-hand side, picks up 4 yards. Got 2 Says, 2 Prasads on the field. Thankfully, both play for, each respective team. Says on DC, Prasad's over on Carolina.
And one plays on offense, one plays on defense. You think that'd be a little bit easier for us to track, but sometimes, you know what? We make a slip up. We're all good. We are all good, guys. We appreciate the love.
And kind of like that, the wise words of a certain character, balance as all things should be, as the pass near side, deflected, incomplete, third down upcoming.
Oh, don't get me started on my Sir Alec Guinness impressions here, but Davis and Joseph, very good job once again. He's been a very effective corner for this Carolina squad over the course of these first 3 games. He's definitely been involved in a lot of big plays throughout the season. So good job from him, just reaching his hand out to get that deflection.
Third down now here for DC as the corners only give about maybe 2 to 3 yards on the line to those wideouts. Synergy stepping up, looking over the middle of the crossing route, and connects with his receiver, Gus Scott, for another first down.
Yeah, and these short slants have really been working for DC here, and Gus Scott, the main benefactor out of all this, getting a bunch of, short receptions, and he's getting a ton of them, and it keeps piling it up, those numbers. This has been a great game for Mr. Scott.
Banner day to be sure, as now Sig is the call near side, and that hole looked wide open, but coming in to close up that hole was Monte Wyatt.
Yeah, and Monty Wyatt, known for his interceptions so far this season, tied with Cody Griffin on interceptions, coming into this day with 4. But, pretty much a touchdown-saving tackle, because I don't think Clint Hendershot was going to get to say on time.
Say gets another call through the middle, and he's taken down again by Wyatt, but not before Kevin Say gets the first down.
Yeah, just squeezing his way through to get that first down marker, and get just a little bit of space needed. Good job by the first blocker to stop Phil Hall right away, and it resulted in the linebackers trying to help out on that tackle, but a little bit too late on there. Still got the first down.
Under 4 minutes to go here in this third quarter as DC come out in the goal line eye. And off again for Kevin Say, trying to go through the middle, taken down after a gain of about 5 yards, as the SFL has partnered with Laser to deliver digital SFL player trading cards to its players and viewers during live events on SFL Twitch. Viewers every 30 minutes will be issued cards, or you can buy SFL card packs through Laser's store. The new Season 19 pack will be available soon. Visit Laser, spelled LAYZR.GG, and click the Join Alpha button. Connect your Twitch account and begin collecting. As down goes Synergy! Down in the backfield for a loss of about 3. Getting in there was Christopher Colon. He now is 8th all-time in sacks in the SFL.
And we're talking about one of the legends in this game in Christopher Colon. It's surprising that he's only 8th in this, and finally, for the first time, Carolina gets to Shabazz Synergy. This might shake momentum their side.
76 total tackles. Make that 77. No, check that. It's his partner on the line, Ryan Ray, who gets off to the defensive end to take him down. But 2 sacks on the drive stamp out the DC's progress.
Yeah, you want to talk about having an impact in this game, and what a way to make it. The 2 edge rushers back-to-back sacks on Shabazz Synergy, forcing it a 4th down here. This one's going to be a false start if I'm not mistaken. They're still going to be outside of range nonetheless, but the punt is just going to be from a little bit closer.
A little tag, number 34 of Carolina, on the infraction, that being the backup free safety, Jonathan Calzone. And so that'll move him closer, but like you said, partner, still outside of field goal range and maybe not close enough to try and go for a 4th down conversion, as now creeping out of the field is Don Wilson. Yard behind his own 40-yard line for the punt. It's on its way to Tony Zoma, who will try and attempt to make a return near his own 10-yard line. Oh, did he get rocked at the 14?
Yeah, Darnell Snow, his shoulders are made of absolute concrete at this point, just crushing Tony Zoma. Welcome to the Shadow Realm, as a couple people would say.
Talked about 2 backup free safeties. Jonathan Calzone. Jonathan Calzone comes up with an offside play, and the other backup free safety, Snow, comes up with a huge hit. And Nakai comes up with a 5-yard gain to bring us closer inside of 2 minutes of the third quarter.
You got to start thinking at this point, Carolina might have to concede with the run game here. Only trust in Hanzo a couple times to get those first downs, but they definitely need to start their passing game up, because if they keep running here, they're going to keep eating clock. And if they keep eating clock, the closer there is to an L going to Carolina.
And Hanzo through the middle, and he gets blasted by Riley Cuse.
Yeah, and we're getting bone-crushing hits here in this third quarter. Big Riley Cuse hit to stop the big Hattori Hanzo from trying to get any additional yardage. It's big hits time here in the third quarter.
3rd and 2. It's another heavy set 4 tight end look from Carolina. Swing pass near side for Nakai. He's got the first down and more to about the 28-yard line before he's taken down, but Carolina offense keeps the drive going.
Yeah, and they've been pretty successful here on these third downs. They're going to be 9 of 12 after that conversion. Fantastic work from the blockers to just get enough space on that right side from that swing pass for Suri Nakai. Just need enough yardage to get the first down. Gets it. But again, that clock is ticking as we inch closer to the end of this third quarter.
Carolina's going to come out with trips to the left-hand side. South under center with Nakai in the backfield. 3-3 nickel look out of DC. Another screen pass near side for Nakai. Not a whole lot of blockers there. Only gets 3 yards. Nakai, slow to get up, but then he eventually does roll to his feet.
Yeah, and Nakai's been getting a healthy dose on this drive here, so maybe a little bit winded after, again, going his way, but a minimal gain. It's not good as we end the third quarter here as it ticks down. Looks like they're just going to concede and head and flip the field here for this fourth quarter.
Can Carolina come back and win this football game? They're down by 14 as we get to the fourth quarter. Get your 86s and 12s and 4s up in chat. You're watching the SFL on YouTube. Tyler Falk, Brett Solberg here from David A. Richardson Memorial Stadium. Welcome back to week 4. The handoff for Hanzo gets us going here in the fourth quarter. Only a gain of a couple yards as Cuse seemingly regularly now meeting up with the big beefy fullback.
Yeah, and he's being really regularly involved in a lot of plays throughout this game, but it looks like his main assignment, stop the run game, force Matt Self to throw that football again. And yeah, in this third down, they're going to have to.
Unless South takes off and run with it, he's going to try and find maybe one of his 4 wide receivers. Trips to his right-hand side. He's going to look near side for the one lone receiver who can't turn upfield. Harish Prasad can't do it. Short by about a yard.
Just too much momentum heading to that sideline. Couldn't turn himself around and get that extra yard needed, and that is a blow to the momentum of Carolina here, as I would believe they're going to punt this football away. DC now has a prime chance to shed a ton of clock and see if they can score out of this.
Maybe I should have called him Shervon again. Maybe that would have given him the first down as the punt is away from Malone Brown. Fair catch called for and hauled in by Gus Scott at his own 26-yard line. As we want to remind you that every production of the SFL is brought to you by APM Music. APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. DC's offense comes back onto the field to start this drive. They'll start with a pass to the left-hand side, cut by Josh Gill for a pickup of 7.
And how interesting is this? First touch for Josh Gill, the main receiver on this DC squad, leading the team with 184 yards coming in, and only gets his first reception here in the fourth quarter. Very interesting offensive setup here for DC throughout this game.
Excellent QBR as well for Synergy. 2 touchdowns, interception, and an 80% completion percentage. A really good day for the quarterbacks. They go with a run up the middle for Kevin Say, and they will continue to march down the field and will move the chains. Another first down for these Dragons.
Yeah, and we're gonna see this out of this DC drive here. They're gonna pinch every inch. They're gonna try to nickel and dime themselves to first downs. They're gonna shed some clock, make this nigh impossible for Carolina to come back in this game. This is just smart thinking from the DC offensive coordinator.
And they carry out maybe another long drive, which they had on their first drive, which nearly hit the 5-minute mark. Synergy, we're going to look for a swing pass, left side for his tailback, Say. Only gains 4 to the 42 as he's decleated.
And Kevin Say's getting close to 25 touches in this game. This is to be expected from Kevin Say. He's going to get a lot of touches, whether it be on the ground or through the air. But he's definitely been effective through this, getting close to 150 yards all-purpose.
Offset eye behind. Shabazz Synergy here on second down. They're going to go with a run near side for Say. Had a lead blocker, but could not get the right block as it's taken down behind the line by Clint Hendershot.
Another big opportunity here for this Carolina defense to stop him here on this third down. DC has been 7 of 10 on third down conversions here, just 1 of 2 in the third quarter. Let's see if they can get them on the minus chart here for the second time this half.
Pass over the middle, and it is Gus Scott with the clutch hands to move the chains. We talked about Gus Scott being all over the field today, and he comes up with yet another reception.
Another reception gives him 8 in this game. Anybody who's closer to that is going to be that tailback, Kevin Say. Had been a healthy dose, again, of those slant routes down the middle, just short yardages. That's all they need from Gus Scott, and he's delivering.
Synergy under pressure is able to find Lauren Percoco over the middle, and she has another first down for DC.
And now the doctor's checked in here for the first half, getting her first catch here in the fourth quarter. And a nice little slant route that turns into a bit of an inside curl. Gets herself open just enough in front and gets a great catch. Another first down here for DC.
Coco and company will trot back to the line of scrimmage. It's the goal line offense here from Carolina's 40-yard line. 4-3 look out of those Skyhawks as Say burst through the middle, tried to make maybe one too many moves and taken down by Davidson Joseph after a pickup of 4.
Yeah, got tied up with his left guard this time, trying to just, like you said, maybe one move too many early on, and it resulted essentially in him losing his speed, and that's why he only got the 4 yards.
2 tight ends off to the right on the line here in this single back set. Synergy looking for it all. Deep left-hand side, diving catch! And they're to the 3-yard line. Josh Gill laying out for the huge completion.
And how often since the return of the DC Dragons have we seen deep shots to Josh Gill? This is the guy that usually gets 85-yard receptions out of himself. Gets those nice catches, beats his man one-on-one, and what a great throw from Shabazz Synergy to try to separate Josh Gill and his guy even further from that fantastic dive as well.
He went from 7 yards to 40 yards with that last 33-yard completion, but Say was going to lose a couple, knocked back a couple yards behind the line of scrimmage.
And again, this is big Carolina defense opportunity here. They need to stop essentially what's going to be a lethal dose of Kevin Say from here on out, as they're inside the 5 still on the second down.
Wide receiver tucked in tight to the line on the left-hand side. Synergy looking left-hand side, looking for Westlake and a hat trick of touchdowns, but denying him was Joseph.
Yeah, and this time, finally, they recognized the flats coming out from that dual tight end set. Percoco and Westlake heading different directions. Westlake's been open twice on those goal line situations. This time, Joseph comes in and just swats the ball away. Great recognition.
So it's 3rd and goal. DC trying to go back up by 3 scores. Synergy looking near side, caught near the goal line, and reaching in is Gus Scott. He's done a majority of the workload for this receiving core, and he gets a rightfully deserved touchdown reception.
And that is a big 6 points for DC. Gus Scott has been all over the place in a great way for this DC passing attack, just being the main guy to get you first down as he finally gets himself rewarded here with his with the touchdown, and that might be the game-saving touchdown here for DC. Now up 3 scores with a shade over 5 minutes left to go. This hill is becoming even tougher to climb for the Skyhawks.
Snap spot, Potty's kick is up, and it is good. 35-14 here in North Carolina. It's DC up on top. Visit the SFL website at simulationfl.net for links to apparel from Sector 6 and SFL mini helmets from 97 Sports Promotions, plus features from our content team, including Swap Talk, Power Rankings, and many more feature series. See all the league records, team stats, player leaderboards, the rankings of the next class of SFL talent, and so much more. Simulationfl.net, your home for everything SFL. Return by Zoma is going to get up to the 23-yard line, no further. And even though we're early on in this SFL season, partner, it's good to see that the minor league is getting a little bit of love down there. Seeing a couple of new faces here in the league, and it's always good to have more folks. And you can join us too. Head to the SFL website to join the SFL today and jump in that minor league, which will start up at the conclusion of the regular season here in the SFL and the pros. And off Nakai, right side, it'll be a penalty, and no matter what, they're going to gain about 5 yards, no matter what Carolina decides to do.
Yeah, and Carolina's big key here. I think they need to stop being pretty. Start to throw these deep passes and what has worked for them? Sideline catches. So look for those deep posts down on the sidelines. You got Harish Prasad. He's one of the fastest players in this league. Get him the deep ball.
South, after throwing 5 interceptions in the first half, has been more accurate, more on target, and more conservative with his passes, trying not to force too many at least. And that sees them with 14 points, but still down by 21 as they go into this heavy set where they try and maybe do another screenplay, which they do, right-hand side for Nakai, and that'll pick up the first down. I used to call Carolina swing pass city, and they, sometimes it works, sometimes these swing passes can get a little monotonous, and like you said, partner, they need to start chucking the football maybe a little bit deeper down the field, but if they can pick up some good chunks of yardage just like that, I think they'll be in a pretty good shape.
Yeah, but if they're going to continue these swing passes, they need more than just one blocker to help out Suna Nakai. He can't do the work all by himself. He's no god essentially.
Nakai through the middle. Only a gain of a yard as they're going to hustle back to the line into the hurry up.
This
in
ain't
a
the formation.
Power. I agree, partner. This is a disaster set for failure, and it's going to go no gain again. They hustle back to the line of scrimmage, and it's like watching a train wreck here on third down. They got to change up the play call. They're going to run it again through the middle. Nakai gets a few more yards this time, but the result is fourth down.
It's an ill-advised hurry-up offense. Like you said, a power I formation with one receiver. If you want to change things up and go from run to pass, you need to have more than one receiver on that side. And now it's going to have to force him in this fourth down situation. Finally going shotgun here.
4th and 6. Have to get beyond the 47-yard line for the first down. South looking to the right-hand side. Corner out, caught. First down, Carolina. They're on the move.
And this is the formation that you want for the hurry-up.
South going to look to throw again. This time he looks for a check down for Nakai. This time it goes backwards to the 49-yard line. Lost the 3, and they're back into the gun.
You get those wide receivers ready on that right side. Look for the corner route. I'm looking at Sam Avalos.
Deep shot. This time it's a post route over the middle. Incomplete. Looking for Prasad.
They were looking for another deep pass, but I think that was the wrong receiver, essentially. As you can see right there, Prasad was essentially double covered, both by Peanut Say, and it looked to be, I want to say John DeSantis there, if I'm not mistaken.
Looked like
Jorge Torres, sorry. That was Jorge Torres, the free safety. Sometimes the corners on that DC team really like to step back, and DeSantis is usually one of them. But like I said, double coverage, and it's tough to throw in a double coverage.
3rd and 13 here for Carolina. South, out route, right-hand side. Cott has to get a lot further down the field. Does Sam Avalos. He does pick up a good chunk of yards, about 6. Well, they need 7 for a first down.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go for it again on this fourth down here, and there's no other choice. There's 3 minutes left to go. You're down 3 scores, and if you want to get momentum back in this game, you're gonna have to get at least 7 yards to get that conversion. And again, I think this is the right formation, having 3 to the left and Sam Avalos by himself on the right.
Dime look out of the Dragons to try and counter. South trying to go 2 for 2 on fourth down. Corner route near side, overthrows Harish Prasad, and that will be a turnover on downs.
Yeah, just overthrows him, and that's one of the pitfalls of Matt South, is that sometimes he's just not the accurate quarterback that you need there, and you can see just the frustration of Harish Prasad as that football airs way over his head, knowing he can't get that football. Turnover on downs, and we should see a lot of running here from DC to shed the clock.
Going to a goal line eye to begin the drive. Handoff through the middle. Kevin Say taken down after a pickup of a yard to the 44-yard line. As we want to remind you that coverage of the SFL on Next Level Sports continues Saturday, July 30th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern with the Baltimore Vultures and Portland Fleet, with live look-ins on Sioux Falls and Indianapolis. Sunday, July 31st, you'll see Fort Worth try their hand at the in-state rival Houston Headhunters at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, with live look-ins on Louisiana and Arizona. For a channel guide and more info about NXT, visit NLSE.com. Another handoff for Say through the middle. Got a couple of blocks. He's close to the first down marker, but is going to be a yard short. But Kevin Say had a couple of shifty moves earlier in the ball game, now showing his toughness.
Yeah, and that's kind of unsuspecting from Kevin Say. You usually know him as that speedy, elusive back, but he's got some unsuspecting strength out of him as well to kind of just push forward, gain that extra yard or two, and that proves to be beneficial as he opens the playbook wide open for DC here on this 3rd and 1.
DC going to let the clock wind all the way down to the 2-minute warning, as it's been DC football all game long from the start of this ball game. There's the 2-minute warning. Dragons 35, Carolina 14. There's 2 minutes to go here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Tyler Falk and Brett Solberg just about set to close up shop here from David A. Richardson Memorial Stadium here on a Friday evening. Glad you could join us here for this one, as the Dragons look to close out a very nice road victory, as the handoff to the left-hand side goes to Kevin Samuels, the backup tailback, and that will pick up the first down, as Carolina will call their first timeout. And so, partner, as everything looks to wind down here from David A. Richardson, your biggest takeaways about this game?
It was just, right now, I would say, after watching this game, DC is a much more menacing team than I thought they would be, especially that coverage game. Forcing Matt South for 5 interceptions in the first half was a huge part in basically shaking any morale or momentum Carolina had. And as you can see there, 21-point gap out of all this. And they basically carried this game from start to finish.
So a short 1-yard pickup in the last play will see us go to a 2nd and 9. The Dragons look to wrap up matters here against the Skyhawks. Next week, after moving to 3-1, the Dragons will take on Vancouver back home in our nation's capital, as Samuels is going to go backwards here on this play, back to the original line of scrimmage. And a final timeout from Carolina. They got none remaining.
Yeah, they're still going to get the football back here, and they do have a chance to narrow down this lead as we end close here. But 3 scores in a minute 51, that's tough.
Going to come out with 3 wide receivers. I'd be very surprised if they pass the football. They are going to pass, as backup quarterback Bruce Leroy probably does the best thing he could have done and take a sack. In on the tackle is Dean Giorno.
Yeah, and we'll take that as a positive for Carolina. They do get a sack out of this. It's not too bad. They're getting the football back here. It's going to get them probably in a little bit better position as they get the football back, maybe to get some final points in this game. But they're definitely going to have this football with about a minute left.
About a minute left and no timeouts, so they're going to need a miracle if they want to come back here in this one. As Don Wilson's punt is on its way for Tony Zoma, who will call for a fair catch at the 19-yard line. And Carolina's offense is going to come out and maybe for one last drive, maybe put some smiles on some of the faces here in Carolina.
Yeah, this has been a rough outing, and I think a lot of the Carolina players will say the same thing for the Skyhawks team. They couldn't get their positive foot forward. It seemed like every one step that they took 3 steps back, whether it be an interception or the run game just not working for them. You could definitely say it's been a disappointing outing for a lot of these impact players.
South going to look to throw on first down over the middle. Caught. First down and more. He found the fullback, Hattori Hanzo, for a big gain to the 38-yard line.
That's a confidence booster for Hanzo, who's been relatively stopped, still averaging 5 yards a carry, but definitely shaken as they spike the football here to stop the clock.
They'll stop the clock with 47 seconds, and the Skyhawks are going to get a chance to lick their wounds next week as they'll go on to their bye. They come back in week 6 and will face DC's opponent from week 5. They'll face Vancouver. So we can talk about your team partner twice in one broadcast. How about that?
Oh, Michael Percoco is going to love the Vancouver airtime that we're giving him right now.
Four wide receivers here on second down here for the Skyhawks. Bump coverage by the DBs. South pumps once, now looking over the middle. It is caught over the shoulder by Vince DeSantis. Great catch from the tight end. And then they'll move back into the hurry up. They're going to try and snap it quickly. About 32 seconds left on the clock as South will spike the football. And it'll be 2nd and 10 when we come back.
It's definitely, stat padding time here for Matt South, who's had, another week to forget here. He's now up to 16 interceptions on the season. Not a great number heading into the first 4 games. Carolina definitely has to look back into their playbooks and see if they can limit the INT numbers heading into the next 8 games for them.
South looking over the middle for his tight end, DeSantis. DeSantis, a little burst of speed with the tackler draped all over him. Another good catch from DeSantis. That'll get him another first down inside the 30-yard line as South spikes it again.
Yeah, and this is very much, in these situations here, you want to go through the plays that you haven't tried in this game and see if they work out on a DC team that admittedly has some of their backups in, and to get them some reps now that they're up 21. And there you see it. Matt South, 208 yards, gets over the 200-yard marker. Definitely will bring back some confidence in his game, hopefully heading to this bye.
And they get over 20 points here in the ball game. Got 19 seconds to do it. South looking over the middle, caught the 20, going backwards is Avalis, and he's finally taken down at the 20. Clock was left to evaporate. That play took 9 seconds, and the time's going to wind all the way down to 4 as they finally snap the ball, and so it's literally 4th and ball game with 4 seconds to go.
Yeah, and like you said, they got one play to get themselves essentially to the end zone if they want to score some points. Any catch otherwise is going to bring the clocks to triple donuts. So they have to think of something that'll get themselves deep. I'm saying post route over to Harish Prasad as the fans in Carolina booing their team. You don't hear that all too often in Carolina Stadium.
Not happy or impressed with how things went today, but maybe a last-second touchdown will help. Pass over the middle is DeSantis. He cannot get to the end zone, and that will do it. The Dragons come into Carolina and come out with the victory, 35-14. And partner, it was the early 5 interceptions that undid Carolina here in this football game.
Yeah, it seemed like when Carolina was trying to gain any kind of momentum, like I said earlier, it just everything was quashed by Matt South throwing an ill-advised interception into 2 or 3 guys, and it just set the entire game up for DC to score, and a lot of those interceptions were converted into scores. So DC's secondary and the safety crew, fantastic job today in basically shutting down any chance of Matt South having a relatively good game. And a great job by the supporting defensive line to basically stop the run game as well. Suna Nakai limited to 29 yards on the ground. Hattori Hanzo, like I said, under 5 yards a carry. We usually see him break out for 10, 15-yard runs. We didn't see that all too often. He was pretty much limited in this game.
Player of the game from the DC Dragons is the quarterback, Shabazz Synergy. 249 yards, a little over 80% completions, and 3 touchdowns. An excellent day for DC and the Dragons. For my partner, Brett Solberg, statisticians, Steven Hacker, and Jack Wallen. For the commissioner, producer, Cameron Irvine, I'm Tyler Falk. We'll see you next time, and until then, good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Ready?